Hello, everybody, and welcome to Bugbear's Basement. We are definitely happy to have you guys here. We are going to be continuing our Gehenna Rising storyline, which is set, of course, in Boston by night with our Vampire the Masquerade. We're having a lot of fun with these role playing games. Hope you guys are enjoying them too. It's absolutely a lot of fun to come in here and share our stories with you, particularly here with Vampire, because this is actually a type of game where the players are involved in telling the story as well, and that's a lot of fun. More so than other RPG, I think. You guys agree with that?
You
Yeah, they okay. There was unanimous agreement, unanimous. But do keep in mind we got a lot of links down below. We still have that White Lily there from Preston Poulter. It's free, so go check it out, read the comic, and if you like what he's doing with that, go over and support him on the crowdfunder. There is that on Indiegogo or Kickstarter? I think it's Kickstarter, or maybe it's Indiegogo. I don't remember. But it's always fun to read free comic. I think, and it's historical based comic as well, which is kind of interesting. And it's actually talking about a female Russian pilot, which is kind of also interesting.
Oh,
So
White Lily. Yeah,
yeah, White
that's
Lily.
Kickstarter.
Yeah, but we have the issue number one for free down below, so you can check that out. Also, if you're not a member of our fan speak over on Facebook, please do. That community is growing and it's quite active. People are giving a lot of daily opinions on news, reviews, comic books, art. I mean, all kind of stuff. And we're having a lot of fun seeing all the interaction with that. It's actually become a lot bigger than I expected it to, which is it's cool though. And of course, Denali here is the one to set that up. And I'm assuming you're happy with how your baby is purring along there, aren't you?
Yep, it's growing like a farmer watching his crop grow.
Okay, so that's at a little by little pace. I get it. Okay,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I'm very happy with what's going on over there, dude. It's cool. Of course, as you guys know, today we're doing our role playing game. But as you guys know, Dinale's in charge of news collection, and he does an amazing job with all that. But there's actually a lot of guys who are starting to put in their own news and stuff, and I try to use ones that are interesting and different from what Denali's putting up when I can, and that's always awesome. I think Summerlee, Oakleaf, he's puts up the most, but I've seen other people starting to pick it up, so that's really cool. And if you're not part of that, please do become part of that. Also, hitting the subscribe button and liking, of course, we appreciate it. It does help us. But we are live streamers, so if you could hit that share button and let your family and friends and extended community know what's going on, we certainly appreciate it. I do see Roger Heller is in here. We got Candy Kane. We got Bob. Bob's in here with me and chatting. There you go. Double duty. Uh,
Right.
we
And
got the.
don't forget to hit that bell notification to be
Oh, that's right.
notified of our content.
There
Because
you
we
go.
do
That's right.
forget about
That's
that.
right.
Say that. Yeah.
We also have Star Storyteller in here. Hello. We got Nick W as well. And I know we'll see more people come in over the hour. But also keep in mind another link we have down below we'd love you to check out is Denali's mailing list. He is, of course, in the process of taking a character that kind of developed behind the scenes here. And he's writing up a story to bring forward the Immortal Mask. And that's going to be a lot of fun. So be part of that mailing list so you know what's going on when he eventually comes out with it. I think that'll be a lot of fun. And there's several of us here that have had little bits of involvement with it, and Denali has taken this and run with it, and I think it's really cool. Josh is here. How you doing, Josh? And we also have Lone Star Viper. Hello. Is this Mike Miller in incognito? Is that what it is? Hi, Mike. Nice to see you, Mike. But anyway, before I get into starting our campaign and giving you guys a synopsis as usual, I did want to mention one little piece of news that I've noticed over the past couple of days that's building. Now we know that there's a certain community in the West that would be, I don't know, how can we classify them? Toxic. I think that's a good word for them. Excessively toxic people that can't shut their damn mouths are constantly making trouble all the time. Well, there's a current story going on and building. If you guys remember in the Endgame, which you guys know that I'm not a big fan of Endgame, I much prefer Infinity War, but nevertheless, it had some fun things in it. And one of the nice little cute fun things in that movie was I love you 3000. which was a little neat thing because not only was she a cute little girl playing Tony and Pepper's daughter, but she was also referencing the fact that at the end of that movie's runtime, that Marvel had given us 3,000 minutes of Marvel superhero movies. How awesome is that? And I
Mhm.
thought that that was a very cool little thing. And matter of fact, I suspect that Marvel actually kind of threw in Ant-Man and the Wasp and Captain Marvel, probably because they noticed that, hey, we're real close to that, and they probably threw those movies in where they weren't planning it, just to kind of pad that number. I feel so. I don't have any proof on that, but I feel there's something to that. But nevertheless, the little girl, she's being shown as being very smart, and they don't say it directly, but they're kind of winking that and hinting at us that she may well be the future Iron Man, maybe or maybe not. I don't think it was really important to the story whatsoever, but there are a certain toxic people, as I had mentioned in the beginning, that have decided that this little girl is a whitewash of Riri Williams, that wonderful character we got, that hero that is more villain than hero, that came out a couple of years ago and has been being pounded in our face because it's time, right? It's always time. But nevertheless, they are bringing down hate and thunder onto this little girl's Instagram to such the point that she actually put out a video, which was obviously scripted by her mom, because she's 7, saying, "Please don't bully my parents and me. Please don't bully me. Thank you. Love you 3,000." She did like that, right? Scripted. Yeah, but who cares? Stop picking on a little 7-year-old kid. What the hell's wrong with these people, dude? I mean, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
It
Now, I
doesn't
know I'm
surprise me.
screaming at the world and no one's listening, but damn, dude. Anybody have an opinion on this?
Yeah, I think it sucks. And you know, it like I said, like it doesn't surprise me. It really doesn't.
Unfortunately, it doesn't. But it's disgusting, dude. I mean, it's disgusting, right? I mean, it's a little baby girl. She doesn't know anyway. What does she know about it? You going over there? If you want to make stupid noise about Riri Williams, go over to freaking Marvel's Twitter or something, or Disney's Twitter. Why are you chasing after this little girl? I mean, you kidding me, right? I mean, Mox, you have an opinion on this, dude?
What kind of trash goes after children?
Well,
Children are innocent. Wait
the, the,
till at least
mhm.
grown.
The
Well,
same kind of people that try to justify pedophilia.
oh, right. Yeah, that's another conversation. But it's also the same kind of people that want to give hormone blockers and reassignment surgery to 5-year-olds. It's these
Yeah,
idiots. They're abusive, right? And they hate children. But I guess in one hand they're saying that a 5-year-old has the right to decide their entire sexual future. Well, if that's true, then a 7-year-old is certainly responsible for her actions. I guess with that kind of thinking.
yeah.
But
Yep.
yeah, I don't want to derail it. We're going to get into the story here, but I had to say something. This is not a news day, so we're not covering news, but it's like this story is developing as well, and we'll see more over the next few days, I think. But it just really, man, I don't. Anyway, let's move on. Now, let me give you a quick little recap here. I don't think I have to go into as detail as I did last week because we know we did miss a week, but this week I think we're fine. But let me catch up real quick. Now, do keep in mind this is a Vampire the Masquerade game. We're playing in the, I'd say second edition is mainly what we're doing. Playing with the old system, which I think is much better than what they're doing now, but that's a different conversation. But we're doing
Well, we
boss. Yeah.
well we'll have to try the new system then to verify that claim.
Um, no, we don't.
Yes, we do.
No, definitely not. Yeah.
Yes, we do.
No, okay.
Yes, we do.
But
Yeah, we
anyway, we're
do.
doing Boston by night. And in this story, Boston is controlled by the Magi, not vampires. Usually cities are controlled by a vampire prince of one of the 13 clans. But in this city, of course, the Magi control because this is one of the major foci on the planet. And it's, of course, it's very important to the Magi to control that. But nevertheless, our heroes, or I guess they're heroes. They are trying to save the world. They have lived in this city for whatever reason, for varying lengths of time. But what has happened is a very powerful prince, fourth generation. Well, he's kind of like a prince. Came in and they were absolutely destroying the masquerade, which of course the masquerade is something that put into place by the Camarilla during the Inquisitions, or the burning time of the in the European history, and to protect themselves. And they were absolutely breaking the masquerade. And of course, we found out the reason why is because Gehenna is upon us. And there are many things that have happened, which I'm going to catch up to in my intro here in a second. But just real quick to summarize, these guys decided to be the sword, the leaning sword of Plan B. And Plan B is to awaken Cain, the progenitor of all vampires. And they've actually been successful, 25% in a way, seeing as they went and retrieved the key of Earth. Which is, I'll show you right here real quick. This is the key of Earth here. They found this lady. She's a Neanderthal or some kind of primitive human. They found. They had to fight a beast. They fought this disgusting guardian here, and they saved her. But they don't know exactly what it is. They can't communicate with her. She's speaking a language they don't know. Of course, all of this was pre-Diluvian, or excuse me, antediluvian. Therefore, we're talking, more than 12,000 years ago, when this was all put into place. So it's they don't know what they got, but basically, the city. To just catch up, what's happening after they got her, they get in a plane and they're heading back to Boston. Now, you guys going back to Boston? What was your reasoning behind going to Boston? Just to let everybody know.
We were going back to check in and uh, explain like everything that happened, show them everything that happened, see if we could figure out exactly some way to communicate with this lady via some kind of like whatever, whether it be a spell or what have you.
Yeah.
And just basically kind of hard the target on exactly where we're going to go next, because things are starting to really get out of hand.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because there are four keys they have to chase around. They went to the one in North America, which was in Wyoming. It was actually in the city of Gray Bull, where they entered. Of course, they found out Gray Bull is actually some amazing illusion, because this is what it really looks like. And they came out at the top of Devil's Tower, which of course is nearby. But they are trying to collect all these keys, which they found out seem to be, or at least this one is a living person, so that they can go into the middle of Central Asia and enter the tomb of Cain and awaken him in hopes that he will deal with the antediluvians. Now, for all of you who don't know the Gehenna situation in the vampire games, basically the antediluvians were the third generation of vampires, and what they did was they ended up capturing and imprisoning Cain so they could have freedom, because he was kind of against them just, completely dominating humans. Cain saw that humans should have a right to be as well. He's a little bit more humanitarian than a vampire you would think be. But also in doing that, they saw that their younger vampires, their creations, were a danger to them. I mean, they turned on their father. So of course their children would do the same. So what they do is every turning of an era, over about 100-year span, they kill every vampire that is alive. So this is about this 2,200-year cycle, right? And they kill every vampire. They cull the humans, usually around 50% when they do it, and they take all that blood and storage back to their home in the deep, deep Umbra, which is like a dimensional space, right? And then before they leave, they will take each of the 13 clans, which is each of the 13 antediluvians, and they'll create a new house head. And that house head will move forward over the next 2,000 years, creating and building their house, doing all the various machinations that vampires do. And of course, our prince, Lucius here, who has actually given them the campaign to go after and try to release Cain, he actually saw this and survived it, and that's why he's trying desperately to stop it. And of course, he is the new Ventru, as it were, the head of the Ventru house. But he wants to stop Gehenna. He doesn't want it to happen anymore. So in order to raise Cain, because they're trying to do it from a magical, combative, front facing type of attack against the antediluvians. But he thinks, although the Camarilla doesn't agree, that raising Cain himself would actually be a good thing, because Cain, they're going against Cain's orders directly. So that's what these guys are doing. That's their mission. They have succeeded in getting the first of four keys, the key of Earth. And as you said, they're heading back to Boston. But here's the interesting thing: when they came out from Devil's Tower, or came out of the Umbra, they were in the Deep Umbra. They found out that two cities had fallen, the city of London and the city of Rome. Now they're on their big old Hercules airplane, and they're heading back to Boston. To Zero Plague had just, or Bob had just explained. That's why they're heading back. But as they're going, a lot of information is happening. There are tons of things coming up on the internet. You're in the air, you're flying toward Boston. I say you guys are probably over Illinois right now, right? And the internet is just full of videos. Thousands, if not tens of thousands of videos are coming out of New York, London, and Rome. And of course, the news is spinning a very different narrative. There's some kind of riots in Rome, and there's some kind of riots in London, and there's some kind of meteor strike in Rome, is what the fake news is pitching, right? But the internet is being inundated by these videos that are coming out of these two places, showing a very different scene. They're showing creatures running through the streets. There's werewolves, these dark, black, twisted werewolves. There's all kinds of, and of course, you guys know those are agents of the worm, and all kind of other supernatural creatures are running around just killing everything they see. And of course, as soon as these videos are put up, the teams at the various social media are desperately taking it down. But there's so much. There's just so much they cannot keep up with it. So there's a lot of buzz going across the planet, like what's going on? And you're starting to see over the past hour the word apocalypse being used a lot, right? And as you guys are sitting here watching, of course, Zero Plague, you're the main tech guy here, and you guys are monitoring the internet, just seeing all the kind of stuff that comes out. One video has gone up to 1 billion views, which is probably something you've never seen before. But it's the hottest video that's coming. It's come out of Rome, actually, and it shows this very tall and large vampire, just with a wave of hand, just literally annihilating a dozen people at a time, just turning them into clouds of blood, and the blood just draws and sucks into him as he's just walking along. But as he's doing that, a blast of energy strikes him. And everyone's watching this as it's going along. The world is watching, right? This blast of energy strikes it. It takes a half step back, and you see like a meteor striking into the ground, and it kind of clouds the screen for a good 10 to 15 seconds. What looks like an angel. And the angel goes at this thing as hard and as fast as it can. But this thing literally just rips the wings off as it tries to fly by, takes its head, rips it off, and drains it right on live video. As if it was an angel was nothing, right? And it continues to walk forward, just tossing the body of this dead angel to the side. And as you're watching this, everything goes black. Now, Plague, you're a computer tech guy. Could you please give me a tech role? So please give me your intelligence, computers, and if you have specialization in programming or what have you, it would apply. Could you give me a role, please?
Okay. We got here. Okay. This is gonna be a good one. This is my Uber roll.
It is.
Okay. Wow. For an Uber roll, that sucks. I got a 10, a 9, and a 1.
Okay, so you ended up with a 10. Okay. You notice as the screen goes black, and it struck you when you saw it, and your memory caught it, but you're just kind of basically, thumbing around on trying to get the internet back up. and you see all the techs in the area because you're sitting in a similar area in the airplane where the techs are, and they're all panicking as well. But as you realize, the internet is not coming. You can't access it. You remember this code that you saw, and you went and you did a little research into, trying to real quick checking what that code could mean, and you're not sure, but you think someone just entered the kill code to the internet,
Oh,
literally
jeez.
to the internet, kill code to the internet, and everything is black. There is nothing to access, which of course would certainly bring a lot of panic to you, and as well as all the techs in the room with you, because you're sitting in a room in the upper kind of level of this airplane, and as you're doing, you see Rhaegar. Which is he's Nosferatu has joined the team. Rygar's pretty quiet. He's when he does talk, he's kind of a whimsical, kind of a goofy little guy. But you guys saw him fight, and it kind of shocked you because in combat he's serious as a heart attack. But Rhaegar comes walking up, and he just comes right over to you, and he's handing you something.
Okay, what is this? What?
All right, you take it, and it's a little Minnie Mouse, little plastic figure of a Minnie Mouse, and he says, "Yeah, push the backpack." Because Minnie's got a little backpack, it's like she's ready to go back to school, right?
Um, okay. I'll push it,
All right, you push it up. It's a USB.
pop it in, pull it up.
He says, and it brings up a prompt on your computer for a passcode entry. And Rhaegar looks at it and he says, "Mickey rules, Bugs drools."
You got to get out more. Type it in.
And it brings back up the vampire net, which seems to be operating on a different system. Matter of fact, as you kind of are looking at why this is working, he explains to you quickly that he doesn't know much about these things. Penelope is the one who gave it to him, but because they kind of worried this might happen. But it seems that the vampire net is actually built upon its own satellite system. It's not actually based upon the earthly cabled internet. So the vampire system is still working. You're seeing all kind of conversations going on. They killed the internet. They killed it. Yeah, they did. They did. We knew they would. There's all this conversation going on amongst the various tech-based vampires and other supernatural creatures. To be fair, in the world. So you're blind, but you're not blind. Right, but this is certainly a shocking moment, one that you would never expected to see the internet actually be literally killed, right?
Yeah, that's so they had to take out their backbone then. Wow. Okay.
So
Oof.
you
That is
guys
not
are
going.
you guys are
That's not going
about
to go over well.
2 hours outside of Boston. You're in the air, of course, and your information is very limited. This internet-based vampire web, it's not as easy or flowing as the normal internet is. Of course, you have a computer guy here, so that's not really a problem. But you have to do more specific searching for information rather than it just kind of being what's trending. Right? You don't have that. So, but anyway, that's the situation. Everyone in the plane knows it. Uh, what do you guys want to do? What do you want to say? What's the deal?
Um, I'm actually gonna. Well, are we back? Are we back in Boston now?
No, you're 2 hours away from Boston over
Okay.
Illinois.
I'm gonna. Now this vampire that's in that video, the really tall one, was he like? Did he have like an unusual look to him? Like like maybe he was a nos or something, or
Well, actually, a lot of the autistic supernatural of the world are already way ahead of you, and there are a lot of little pics dropping up from that search, and there are actually a couple that got a side angle. No, there was no camera showing that you found showing a front-facing one of him, but a side one. He looks like they're estimating he's about 9 foot tall, and he's absolutely a Nosferatu. Matter of fact, it is Nosferatu.
okay. I'm going to point this out to Rhaegar.
Yeah, he seems
I'm
sad.
uh, I So this was the guy in Rome, right?
Yeah, this is Rome. Yeah.
So the two cities that have been hit so far are Rome and London.
Yes, mainly. Now, there's chaos and noise coming up from all over the place, but the media are able to manage that fairly well. But these two is just it seems the antediluvian ancestors just simply walked into the cities and just taking it, right?
Yeah.
Now, of course, all the people in the Camarilla who understand anything, which is going to be everybody here and any kind of level above, they all know that the returning of the fathers, the antediluvian fathers, is not a good thing. Everybody knows that. Now, the Sabbat, of course, are a whole nother group that want that to happen. But the Camarilla, whether you guys aren't Camarilla per se, but you're not idiots either. So you know the returning of the antediluvians is a bad thing, right? Now you have learned new information, however, that you didn't know, and the fact that Gehenna is not a end of the world apocalypse; it's a cyclical thing that the antediluvians do to simply maintain and manage the planet, right? From their umbral homes. So this is rare. I mean, it's every 2,200 years or so, the antediluvians walk the earth, and death follows with them. Usually, they live their lives in some deep, weird, strange, twisted umbral home. Deep umbral home. So you guys have learned more about Gehenna, but it's not like Rhaegar is like, oh, Nosferatu's here, let me run and follow him. No, they're just as afraid of their ancestors as everybody else.
Okay. I'm gonna wave Dinale's character over. God dang it, Al.
Al, yeah, Al.
Yep.
And I'm pointing at the angel. I was like, is that what I think it is?
And so seeing that Plague is calling me over, my characters, how it's going over and looking at it.
And I'll pause it right on that thing. I was like, is that what I think it is?
I look at it and I think to myself, is it is?
Well, one thing you noticed in the video, because you saw it yourself as well, you were watching with whether you were standing next to them or not. Everyone, most of the planet was watching that. That it was literally a billion live watchers, right? And the thing that caught your eye more was the fact that in the shadows running around behind, you saw demons. Now your occult is certainly high enough to know that demons are actual real things, because most people in the supernatural world would consider a demon to just be a joke, right? The people who understand the deep umbra understand that there are scary things in there, but something that would be classified as a race called demon is not something that is consistently believed. It's almost like a fairy tale. You, however, know this is not true. Demons are real, and they used to be a real big problem, but they haven't been seen for quite a while. But you are seeing demons running around the background that no one else seems to be noticing or paying attention. Of course, this giant 9 foot tall Nosferatu walking through the streets of London, just literally turning groups of people into clouds of blood, would kind of focus your attention, I would think. But you notice that. Now, when you see the angel, even for your level of understanding, angels are just fairy tales. But I guess not.
Yep. Demons and angels. So that's what I'd be saying. And I'd be pointing out the demons in the footage, and then I didn't believe it, but you're right, angels as well.
Okay. Can we have a powwow with our little group here? I call over Sienna. Like, we have a minute. I was like, I don't know about you guys, but wherever we go next, I want it to be as far away from this as possible. I don't want to deal with this until we absolutely freaking have to. What do you guys think?
If we take back the girl to Boston and we go to the next ruin, that means we're going to have to come back for her or drop off another one in Boston again before we do anything else.
Oh no, I thought we already decided we're taking them with us.
Yeah.
Whatever these keys are, we're not leaving them anywhere. Because there's a very good chance, considering that these things are hitting places of power, Boston's going to get taken out.
I would also recommend this airplane needs to be magically protected in case our ancestor decides to be a little bit humorous and see us struggle a bit more than we have to.
It
Yeah,
it
we're already on
already
your
it
radar.
already is. Denali, maybe that the other
Mhm.
guys don't know, but you're because you're an occult guy. That's your
Right.
main focus of knowledge, right? Occult and
Mm-hmm.
magic, and you
Yeah.
know that the Camarilla actually has had a very long relationship with the Magi, and although the Magi don't love vampires, they certainly will work with them, and there's certain type of vampire they hate more than others. But the Camarilla has a long relationship with them, and a lot of the Camarilla level, meaning that high level Justicar type stuff, is magical. They do interact with the Magi in that way.
Okay. So, so I'm aware that the airplane has defensive warts
It's
and
certainly
shields
warding.
on it.
Actually, you've seen them.
Yeah.
There's
Okay.
certain numbers on
Good.
corridors and the little areas. You've seen it already. Yeah.
All right. So I point that out. So all we need to do when we're getting there is to reach um the Magi's to give us that talkie spell to talk to the keys, um, and that original book that the prince had made a copy. See if I can read
Yeah.
it or whatever.
Yeah, if nothing else, to make sure that you have something, like I said, because I get the feeling that the city's going to get hit.
Yeah.
True, but do keep in mind that the two strongest fortified cities against vampire attack, one is Constantinople, or of course what is called Istanbul today. The other is Boston.
Yeah.
So it's literally the second best place on the planet to be when it comes to vampires.
Yeah, but we also just saw friggin' Nosferatu rip the wings off a freaking angel. So
We did. This is true. It's exactly
um,
what we did.
I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, no.
Perhaps we
But
need stronger weapons.
Well, you
I
have the
honestly
best
don't
they
think.
have to offer.
Yeah, I
Mm.
honestly don't think we have anything that's going to even put a dent in that guy.
Sure, and of course, you guys are Plan B. You're not. There, no one's asking you to go and face Nosferat face to face at all. No one is asking you to do that, right?
Right.
Oh yeah, I know. But I'm just saying, if things do turn out that way, it's like, good game.
Well, don't make that happen. That would be your responsibility, I would say.
Right, exactly.
So I would kind of turn over to Plague and say, Plague, can you get to the Shrek net and see if they can, if you can download all occult books or information, put a call out about all the antediluvians and any prophecies or anything, any information to be sent over to you guys?
Oh, who you asking that? I thought you were.
You,
That was Plague. Yeah, you.
Oh yeah, I'll get on here and see if they can. I can pull everything I can up on them. Um, yeah, if we can be as self sufficient as possible, we need to. But we got to figure out where
So,
we're going. We got to figure out where we're going next after this.
well, Earth Temple, Water Temple would be next in the heart of Congo.
yep.
So anything any information pertaining around that region as well would be helpful.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up and just something I just thought of. Considering she's the Earth key, maybe we should the next one we should go for should be the opposite. So if she's the Earth, we should go for the water one next, maybe, because just on the chance that there's some kind of a weird thing going on there.
Well, the water temple is in the Congo. The fire temple is in Russia, and the air temple is in Australia.
Yeah, I think we should hit the one. I think we should hit the water one next. What do you guys
Right.
think? Or am I overthinking this? Because I'm not gonna. I'm gonna admit I'm a little freaked out.
You're a little bit freaked out because you didn't hear me say we're going to Congo, and that's what we
Okay.
need to
Yeah.
look
Okay.
into.
Now Sprite just tore freaking angel's wings off.
Yes, but I'm not worried about the angels. I'm worried about the demons.
I think if we run into either one of them, we're done. But all right, let's do this.
Mhm. Now,
Do I
of
need to? Do
course,
I need to?
just as
I'm sorry.
a game story information caveat here, Denali, whether you explain this or not, basically, you know that the demons in this game are not kind of like the demons you'd see in other games, meaning like a species of these things that a devil might control. In this game, all the demons are the fallen, so they're
Mhm.
all fallen angels themselves. Which means they're depowered and powered down angels. They're fallen angels. That's what a demon is in this game. It's not like some other chimeric creature that was created. They're literally the fallen watchers. So
Right. But do you need me to make a roll for this stuff he wants me to get?
no, that's easy enough for you.
Okay. I will start putting it out there, asking for any and all text on the antediluvians themselves, any information that would pertain to the places that we're going. I know there's not a lot, and also up to date reports, if possible, on anything going on in those areas.
Sure. There's plenty of information. You're just working on it over the next couple hours. You're collecting information and you're detailing that. There are, as you knew before, there are a total of 13 cities on the planet that have some very weird stuff going on. You know about this already. These two were seem to be a full frontal attack. Are the only two that are coming up on the radar as of now. Now, of course, you guys know from the information you've gained from the prince and through Delilah, who's still sitting here on this plane, by the way, just quietly listening. She had told you that this process is not what many vampire or other sages had thought, that this was going to be like a thing that ended it overnight or a matter of 2 or 3 days. This is a process that is cyclical. It happens every 2,200 years, and it usually takes place over about a 100-year period. Now, of course, in the beginning, they're going to take their power bases back because you understand from what the research that the prince and Delilah had done, that in order for them to come out of the deep umbra and to come into the world and be able to funnel back all this blood that they're collecting, because that's what they're doing. They're collecting not only vampire blood but also human blood. But for them to collect this, to preserve it, and to transport it back to their deep umbral homes, this is a major process. So they need a center, and of course, the loci, a powerful loci, is a magical way for them to move quickly between the deep umbra and here. Matter of fact, they might even be thinking about building gates or something like that. You're not sure, but that's why they're going after the loci locations, because they need because of this transportation between the deep umbra and the planet. So now, how quickly will all 13 of the antediluvians attack? You don't know. You would assume the first thing strategically they would do was to get a hold of those loci and control them, because that's what they need. So this is the
Right.
only kind of information you have. This is the only thing you can assume that's happening.
Gotcha. That's one of the reasons why. That's actually the reason why I was concerned about Boston, because it's a loci. So
It's the second most powerful loci on the planet. Yeah, yeah.
right. Okay. Yeah, I think that's pretty much what I'm doing.
All right, cool.
I'm going to be researching, but I'm also going to be taking there's a lab on this plane, correct?
Absolutely, yeah, yeah.
Yep. I'm going to be taking a blood sample from the key
Hmm.
and seeing what properties, if there's anything otherworldly besides what we saw that's connected that can be used, can be understood
Sure. Okay.
from that.
Let me just check real quick. Sienna, what are you doing?
I'm going to use a mobile device to download the information that he has on the area we're going to, study it, and then prepare the guns and weapons for field duty.
Okay, and of course, because he does have the Shrek net, as Dinale likes to say, which I like it. That's actually cool. Because he is on the Shrek net, you are actually able to get a hold of that information. And of course, there's nothing wrong with Bluetooth devices. Just the internet has been shut down, is all. So you're able to do that. You notice that Rhaegar, who is far more somber than usual, because you understand Rhaegar isn't really a super chatty guy, but unless when he is chatty. But he's usually a fairly happy fella, right? He's not a gloom and doom type of person. He's not like that. But he's been very quiet and he's very sullen, and he just kind of sitting in a seiza position, which is kind of a samurai position, and he's just sharpening his sword quietly. Delilah is running around organizing things and interacting with the crew, and Plague is gathering information, and Al is taking some blood. Now, understand that the key of Earth is not really pleased about you taking blood from her, but she is just a human after all, so she doesn't have much to say about it. But you guys do have her in a kind of a like a holding cell, I would assume. You're not letting her roam free, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So like a locked cabin or something like that. But you can't understand her. She does jabber away from time to time, but she's been much more quiet the past a couple hours, because she's terrified. You can see it on her face. She doesn't know what's going on. She doesn't know where she is, obviously. But you take this blood and you start researching. Of course, this is something that Al does, and there is a full lab here, very nice one actually. You kind of wish you had some of the stuff in here, but you're checking the blood, and over the next 2 hours, what you're able to glean, Denali, is that she is human. I don't know if you have a tech to do a full genome sweep in that amount of time. Well, let's say you do. You guys have magical higher tech, so let's say you're able to do that. She's basically human. I mean, like 97% human, right? The other stuff in her are things that are analogous and standard when it comes to the Neanderthal DNA that's been discovered and completely mapped. So that's not surprising to you. But what you do find is readily right off the top is that there is these little teeny glowing things that are swimming in her bloodstream. You don't know what they are. You've never seen them before, but they're just happily swimming along. They're not doing anything particular. They're not eating anything. They're not. They're just kind of swimming about. And they're little teeny glowing, yellow glowing little sprite type of looking thing, and it's just moving around the blood. You have no clue what it is. You try to isolate it. You try to identify it. You have nothing. You don't know what it is, but it's certainly a foreign body.
Midichlorians.
Midichlorians.
George Lucas was right.
George Lucas was right. Although during that period of time, you are able to at least minimally discern that they are magical in their base, though. You can
Oh,
figure that out.
okay.
All right. So
That is interesting.
well, okay, sure. But you do know that, interestingly, that as far as occult lore goes, actually magic was introduced to the world through the vampires, not through the humans. It was the early generations who created magic and used it. It was just something that the humans later found, the small group that could manage it, that they could actually manipulate it better, right? But the ones who actually introduced magic to the world were the antediluvian second generation and such. Okay?
Hmm.
All right.
Yep.
Now, you guys are coming on approach into Chicago. Now, as you're doing that, I don't know what you guys are doing as far as communicating with whoever. But of course, the airplane is communicating, and of course, Delilah is communicating. And Delilah comes to you guys, and she kind of calls you all together from your various little things you're doing and preparing, and she says, there seems to be a problem. I don't know exactly what it is, but I can't get through to the Chantry House. I don't know why. It seems to be still intact. I just can't communicate, and the pilot is having trouble keeping a constant communication with the tower.
This is our landing spot.
Yep.
I think we should divert.
Yeah, I think that might be not be a bad idea. Maybe someplace outside of Boston, and then
I asked
okay.
how much fuel do we have, and what would be the next location if we can't land here.
You have fuel that can take you probably another, probably a good 500 miles, I'd say, in any direction.
Mm.
You are about 15 minutes outside the Boston airport, though.
Malkav said that he was going to make this interesting.
There's two options we have: land at the airstrip and refuel, take our chances, then take off. Or do we know anywhere that's within 500 miles from here that we could land and refuel there?
Yeah, I think we might. I think going back might not be an option anymore. So I think we need to. Well, we definitely need to refuel before we head for Africa. But once we get there, we need to make sure that we've got someplace over there to refuel to get out.
Mhm.
I think we might have to start doing all this on the fly.
Ragar suggests, why don't you check on the local ShrekNet and see what's going on.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to do that. I'm just like thinking right now, maybe divert to another direct someplace else, and
Well, before we divert, we still have time. So
yeah.
check
All right.
check the net, ShrekNet, and that'll kind of tell us what's going on.
Okay. I will pull up the keyboard and tap away.
All right.
And what do you want me to roll for this? Or
I don't want you to roll anything.
okay.
All right, so you check it, and you're of course looking into the situation and seeing what's being said. It's fairly quiet, but what you are able to glean is that the Chantry House is fine. It's not like it's fallen or anything like that. But what the Nosferatu are saying is that the Sabbat are in town.
Okay. So they're just basically disrupting things.
They are causing disruption. Now, you guys know the Sabbat are a clan or a group, not a clan. They're a group of vampires who believe that the Gehenna is a good thing, and they want the antediluvians to return. They are their masters, so they are the willing and happy servants of the antediluvians, completely unaware of the fact that they're just as much food as anybody else.
Great. So the bot's out and it's causing a ruckus.
The Sabbat are out causing trouble. But the Chantry House is not fallen, nor has the city particular. But the
Yeah.
Sabbat are moving around doing things.
I ask, what's her name? Is it
Delilah?
possible to have? Yeah, Delilah. Can you? I know you're having trouble communicating. Actually, why don't we just use the NOSnet? We need transportation to the Chantry if we land. I mean, if we land, we might have to deal with the Sabbat. So
She
what do
said.
you guys want to do?
She said that because Delilah, of course, is right there. She says, "I've already have transportation prepared for us when we land. It's all ready for us to travel back to the Chantry House."
Okay.
All right.
You guys want to risk it? Just because, like I said, as long as we don't have to deal with them, because the only thing I'm worried about is them hitting the plane.
All right. We definitely need to get that spell if we're going to continue
Yeah.
forward because we don't know what languages our puzzles or whatever we're going to face going to appear, and we need all the intel we can get.
Okay. Well, then I think it's decided.
Yeah. So we're going to land, and then we're going to have our transportation take us to the Chantry.
All right.
All right.
You
Is
guys land normally. There is a lot of electromagnetic interference that's going on across the city. No one knows exactly what's going on. As you're checking the ShrekNet locally, this is the problem with the ShrekNet is that it's not as handy or useful as the internet, right? You have to really focus where you're looking at things, and of course now you're looking at Boston particularly, so you're getting the information that's happening on in Boston. But of course, that while you're doing that, it means you're kind of blind to what's going on elsewhere, right? That's kind of the way it works. You see that there's a lot of there's some kind of jamming that's going on, and actually the Nosferatu, who usually don't say much about what they're doing particularly, there is a lot of chatter going on through them locally that they're trying to locate and isolate the jamming devices so they can remove them. So you know that's happening. But you guys land in Boston, no problem. And of course, a set of vehicles come up to the plane itself. Now, you guys are going to you're not going to take your big old moving truck with you. There's no need for that unless you want to. They do have a bunch of kind of Escalade type of vehicles awaiting you. So are you going to take the Escalades or are you going to take your battle wagon?
uh, I'm all for taking the battle wagon.
I think that we should get the Escalades if we can to circle around the plane and protect it while we go.
That's that's two for battle wagon, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. Now keep in mind, Delilah, of course, is the prince's contact here, and she's also the facilitator. But this
Mhm.
operation is your operation. You're in charge. I mean,
Yeah,
she's not the boss. You're not working for her. She's working for you.
yeah. We're taking the tank. What do you think, Denali? Ow, ow.
Yeah. We also have to think: are we taking the key with us? If the
We should.
Yeah, I don't think we should leave this thing out of sight.
all right, then we need a battle tank because. But wouldn't that call? Here's a question: wouldn't the tank cause attention to the Sabbat if we take it? We want to be as very stealthy coming in and coming out approach as well.
It does stand out. That is a fair point.
If we run into a bunch of Savat, would you rather be in an Escalade or in this?
Yeah,
Well, how bulletproof is the Escalade?
Pretty much, pretty good. It's an executive level, so it's not the it's not presidential level of the beast, but it's a standard corporate bullet resistant Escalade, black op vehicle. Yeah,
And we still have the Dragonfire guns with us with rounds.
you do.
oh, okay, all right. Which I know what I'm gonna leave it up to Sienna because she's the one she's the combat one, so she's the one who actually understands this stuff. Want me to hack something? I'm down, but you want me to survive a tactical situation? I'm gonna leave that to her.
Well, do keep
All
in
right.
mind when I'm presenting what's happening in the world, but it's not linear. There's more than
Mhm.
one way to skin a cat. You don't
Right.
you can face things in a very aggressive way. You can do things in a subtle way, in a obfuscated way. I mean, there's many ways to go about it. I'm not telling you how you have to do it. I'm just putting the obstacle
No,
in front of you, right?
no, I understand
No.
that.
What do you think?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I think we should do a diversion because right now nobody knows what we are. If the Sabbat is really going after us, we have if we want to be a distraction, we go through the escalates, and then have the tank go another direction, so they
So,
don't know which one to hit us.
Mhm.
so
Does
we'll
that
take
sound
the Escalade and we'll let someone else drive the big tank.
Yeah. All right.
right?
It's fine with me.
Okay.
Let's do this.
So you guys all pile into the Escalade. Delilah, of course, is staying with a plane. That's her job. So the
Hmm.
three of you guys, you get in, and I'm assuming you're taking a drive. It's nighttime, of course. This is all being timed for your activities. So you are in the middle of the night. I'd say it's about 8 p.m. Or actually probably about 9 p.m. when you land in Boston, actually.
Hmm.
And You have the key. You have the three of you. You're bringing a driver, or you go to drive yourself?
Bring a
Definitely,
driver.
definitely have a driver because I can't drive for crap.
All right, so you got the driver. So there's five of you. No problem. You fit in there well. You are armed to the teeth. I am assuming.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I do have a question though.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. Would it be possible along the way to hack the traffic system so that every time we come up on a light, I can change it to green?
Well, normally I'd say that would be impossible, specifically seeing as the internet is down. But because the ShrekNet is up, actually, you find that they actually have, as you focus on this, they actually have which you already did before, if you remember. They do have a file entry channel, I guess you'd call it, where they have control of that already. So
Yeah.
yes, you can do that. You also have access to all the CCTV stuff, the lighting system throughout the city, alarm systems, all those kind of things that would be connected to a governmental policing type of control. You have access to. Yes.
Okay. Then that's what I'm basically gonna do. I mean, I'm not gonna try and cause an accident, but I'm gonna try and clear the way for us as we're going.
Okay. Now, as you guys are getting into the car and getting ready to go, do keep in mind that the key it seems to have had quite enough of this, and being she's struggling a lot. She's biting.
Anybody got any ether? Shh, shh.
Okay, that was the solution. Sienna Schuster. All right. Would you like to do an intimidation roll, Sienna?
Sure. Um, let's see.
If you're
You definitely have intimidation, dude.
I'm in the middle of recording, I think he's just in the living room. Why? He ain't
Uh,
earlier yet.
Combination of 3, and I don't
Um,
want to use my strength on that.
Well, no, no, no. What you do is you take your charisma
okay,
dice. You
but
take your, excuse me, in this case, you take your charisma dice. You take your intimidation dice. How many dice do you have in intimidation? Just curiously.
3 on that and 2 in charisma.
Okay, so that would be 5 dice, but I do believe in 3 dice in intimidation would give him a specialization, right?
Mm,
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, I
yeah.
think with it, the specialization starts at 3, right? What is your specialization in intimidation?
I don't have one.
Okay, well, it probably would be physically based anyway because that's what you do. Yeah, now just go ahead and roll your 5 dice.
Um,
She's a terrified human, so it's not like it's a particularly difficult roll.
I don't seem to have my
The
dice
teal
screen.
dice roller, Bob, could you drop that in the chat for him? I mean,
Yep.
in the Hangouts chat.
Gotcha.
While you're doing that, let me come over and actually pay a little bit of attention to the actual crowd because I'm not watching that at all. I'm busy on the other side. But perhaps Booster Kiwi is not the boss of you. Okay. But I am Cortex the Blue Wrench. Thank you, Booster. Booster seems to be trying to intimidate and be mean to the chat. I do apologize, guys. Just throw mean words at him. Mickey rules, Bugs drools. Yes, that's right, Nick. You're right. I thought that was a cute little uh, wink, wink. Because the opposite is actually true. Someone killed the internet. I don't see that as a bad thing. Probably not, dude. Black spiral dancers. Yes, Bob. I'm glad you mentioned in the chat, not here. Let's see. The world has gone mad. Absolutely. Cool. I bet I could throw a football over it. Maybe. Interesting. All right, good. The Escalade gets what 2 miles to the gallon, probably, but they serve their purpose. They're like little modern day tanks, is what they are. You ready there, Mox? You got yourself all set up?
Yes, sir. I rolled
All
a
right.
10 and a 1, which cancel each other out, which left me with a 7, 8, and a 2.
All right. Okay. Now, because of the situation and the fact that she's absolutely terrified, it's not actually very hard to intimidate her. So we'll say you've had enough success to quiet her. You know that you don't have her completely dominated, but you certainly were able to shut her up. And of course, it's not like you can blame her. I mean, you guys are vampires, and your opinions on humans might vary from one to the other. But you can at least understand why she's out of her mind with fear and worry because you don't even know. I mean, she's been in stasis for how long, and you don't even know what happened for her to become in stasis. You don't know if this is something that she was kind of like went to sleep in a way and then woke up with you guys there. You don't know the situation, but it's easy to understand her emotion. Nevertheless, she's quiet. You guys are in the Escalade. You have the drivers driving, and you guys are moving through the city. Now, as you're going along, I'm assuming that Plague is monitoring things.
Oh hell yes.
All right. So you guys are moving along. You're coming down across the down out of the airport. You're moving east, and you're heading toward Back Bay to get over to where the Chantry is. And as you're going along, you're seeing that there are a lot of activity going on with the Sabbat, and it seems the Nosferatu of the city are dealing with a challenge, but you're also hearing that the Magi are standing side by side with them. You also see some information that at least one of the Justicar, which of four of them are with the prince here, is on the streets as well. You're also noticing that they're trying to stick somewhat to the masquerade, but that's like almost out the window right now. But as you guys are driving along, as I say this to you, you notice up in the distance, or toward the ocean side, to the left of your vehicle, you guys see these like almost like a Roman candle type of firework is just filling the sky over toward the port. You don't know what's going on, but it's certainly colorful. But some kind of extreme activity is going on over there. You guys continue down, and you come into the intersection, which is going to allow you go to your right and head west, and that's going to take you toward Back Bay. The problem is, Plague, that you're getting information that the bridge that can get you to Back Bay from where you are is there's some kind of mini siege going on it.
Okay. Start pulling up the map of the city to see if there's an alternate route, or is this the only bridge that leads where we need to go?
Oh no, there are several. Now you could head down and head along the Charles and try to come in from the south. You could travel all the way back over to Orange, which you guys know you might not want to do that because the werewolves control that. The bone gnawers control that area. That has a couple of access points, and of course you could try to travel back into the north, but you are noticing that a lot of trouble is happening to the north of Back Bay, actually, which would be in the downtown area. There's all kind of stuff, and you're even seeing because they are most people unfortunately have cable. And using their cable to get their TV, but you guys are able to get it to kind of stream through you to the ShrekNet, and you're seeing the local news is either starting to talk about speculating what's going on, and supernatural words are being thrown around a lot. This is not good, right?
Okay.
Does
So
Rhaegar know if we can get from here to where we need to be underground?
He says, yes, absolutely.
Can we
um,
get him to lead us, and is it safe? At least safer than this?
I think it's the best. That's probably the best course of action because I'm not, like I said, I'm not a strategy guy. But if I wanted to push someone into a particular direction, I would make every other route except for one bad. And it looks like that where we're looking at things, Every route except for one is bad.
The southern one
So
is open.
my
Yeah.
brain is screaming trap.
Oh yeah.
So sewers it is, man. I don't have a problem getting wet.
So,
Well,
what are you
let's
guys
do
gonna do?
that.
Lead on McDuff.
All right. Well, you guys get out of the vehicle, and you head over toward. Now, of course, you guys are near Back Bay, and of course, the new Big Dig subway has been put in here. So there's actually an underground here that wasn't publicly known anyway, but there's a public one now. And you guys just head down into the subway system, and of course. There's not a lot of people here. The city's kind of on lockdown. The people don't know what's going on, but everyone seems to, they don't. And of course, no one would want to admit it, but the word apocalypse and supernatural being thrown around a lot, and the people are scared and they're staying home. So it's fairly empty. You see, Ragnar is moving quietly but without any reservation. He heads down onto a subway. He just jumps over the what do they call it? The ticket kiosk, and he just continues on. He gets down to the platform. He jumps down on the tracks, and you guys are just following along. Now he gets to a certain point of the track, and there's like a door. You see, it seems to be like a governmental maintenance door. You actually notice that he takes out a ring of keys from his pocket. He's kind of flicking through them, and he looks at and he puts it in. He literally has the maintenance key to the subway tunnel, and down you go into the underway. Now you get down the underway, and there it's really quiet. It's eerily quiet. Now you guys have been in the underway like twice. I think actually Sienna has been here more than the rest of you. So it's you don't know much about it, but it seems quiet. And Ragar even mentions it's quiet. But he's moving along at a cautious but steady pace, and you guys are heading in a westerly direction, you think. But you come across, you're in a kind of a narrow tunnel. You come across a large chamber. And as you're getting ready to cross it, of course, Ragnar is being very cautious, kind of looking and paying attention. And I'm assuming you guys are doing the same, right?
Yeah, so I wanted to say that since we're finding this very eerily quiet, I'm going to activate Auspex.
Very well. Anybody else want to do something?
Yes. I want to activate my um the celerity, which is the speed, I believe.
That's right. Okay, so you
And
activate your celerity. Now, having your celerity on, I think you have one dot in celerity or two.
one.
Now, Bob, correct me if I'm wrong, but the 1 point in celerity, just simply activating, allows him just simply to move at a quicker pace. If he actually wants to engage the second attack, it requires blood, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good, good. All right, so you do that, Denali or Al.
I activate
Um,
Auspex,
All right.
hiding
Uh,
sense.
Now, you also notice that Ragar in front of you. Let me bring it back over to him real quick. Okay.
and if anything does happen, he gets the extra die to his dexterity rolls
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
for
yeah.
the celerity.
Ragar, he goes down into kind of a crouch type of position. He's waving behind you guys, down, down, down. He doesn't say it. He's just waving with his hand, and you notice
Hmm.
that he all of a sudden becomes very hard to see. He's not actually invisible to you guys because you have the pendants on, right? You didn't take those off, I'm assuming.
Hell no.
Right, it's still on.
That thing's on for good now.
But even with those, he's still hard to see. But you can keep an eye on him. But he's obviously turned on one of his abilities as well, his disciplines as well. And he kind of points because he knows you have those pendants on, right? He's got one himself, and he points across the chamber, and you see in a tunnel, which you don't know if this is the direction you're heading or not, because there's several trailing off tunnels here. But in one of the tunnels, you do see when he points it out, and you have your auspex and stuff on, that There is a group of people that are trying to hide in that tunnel, just not very successfully.
All right.
Um,
Do I hear what they're saying?
With your auspex on, actually, they're not
Mm.
saying anything.
Okay. So I'm gonna turn on my other discipline, which is shadow play,
Okay.
um, and I will gather all the shadows, and I'm gonna use it to hold all of them down. At
So you're going to make
at
an attack. What is the range on that ability? This is
your
about
rate.
this is spanning, I'd say, maybe 30, 35 meters, 30, 35 yards. It's to the other side of this chamber.
Okay. Let me see. System requires. Um,
while
it
he's
doesn't.
doing that, I'm
It
sorry.
doesn't say any. It doesn't have any limits from what it says.
While he's doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and hit obfuscate as well. I'm gonna hide
Okay.
in the shadows.
Let me
Sienna,
see.
do you want to do anything here?
Yes. Um, can I use my dexterity and stamina to rush over to their location with the celerity as well to get there very quickly?
Oh, of course you could, but you would have to engage in an initiative roll, of course, because they have opportunity to do stuff too, right? And of course, Dinale is about to throw an attack at him anyway,
All right.
so I got to make a
Question.
perception roll. So
Yeah. Question. If they are either mortals or kindred, and if they never seen this power, they have to roll a courage roll, difficulty 8, or suffer 1 doubt penalty as well
okay,
with this roll.
okay, is that it? All right,
Yep.
so let me make my rolls here. Now you guys are two of you guys are obfuscated, right?
Yeah, I am. I don't know who else is.
All right.
Other than
The
Ragnar.
shadow play adds dice to my stealth, so if I'm stealthy, I'll add 1 dice when I roll it. But right now,
Okay.
I'm
Um,
throwing shadow to grapple them.
No, I understand. They
Yeah,
are unaware of your presence, and therefore they don't get a reaction. But you go ahead and make your shadow play. So I need to make what was that roll again? I need to make for them.
you have to roll a courage roll, difficulty 8.
No, no, no. The original roll. It's like
No,
it's
that's
like a grapple, right?
right. So, do you want me to just roll strength and shadow play
Please do. Yes.
because the power says requires no rolls? But yeah,
Oh no, no, no. I'm
we'll
just.
do.
What is their defense? I mean, they is it like automatically just grapples them without them having any say in the matter? Really?
Yep.
Oh wow. You
Um.
okay? All right, that's fine. All right, so
Yep.
you have them wrapped up in the shadow, and let me make those, which is an impossible roll almost. But hold on. All right. Okay. Yeah. No. Well, actually, two of them are not scared. The other ones are. And
Okay.
you know now that because your power is controlling, and I'm assuming you can feel what you're doing through it. There are
Hmm.
five of them. They
Yep.
three of them are terrified. The other ones, they're all struggling against it, but I guess they don't get a roll, which doesn't make sense. They should have some kind of roll.
Well,
But it doesn't matter
if you
in
want
the
me,
well, no, in this situation, it
oh,
doesn't really matter generally. It's okay.
okay,
Now, are you going
okay,
to drag them out into the light, as it were?
yeah, we want to see what these people are.
All right. Now
Ooh,
you see now also we have Sienna running across the room. Now Sienna, you see them being dragged out by a bunch of shadows. You've seen Al do this before. You know it's his power, and they're all seen to be grappled and controlled by these shadows. What You're standing over them. What would you like to do?
I asked them with my power of intimidation, who are they and what are they doing here?
Okay. Well, give me a roll.
Okay, that's 3 on that and 2 on charisma, so that's 5.
Well, actually, in this case, I'm assuming you're using your physical presence to intimidate them. With the girl, I'm assuming I just kind of assumed you were taking a lot more lighter touch with her because she's not an enemy. These guys, you're all pumped up, so this would be your intimidation and strength on this roll, actually.
Okay, so my strength is a 5.
Right?
And the intimidation is a 3, so that's 8.
Yep. Go ahead. Now, 3 of them are kind of out of their mind with Terra, but 2 of them you think you could communicate with. So go ahead.
I had 110 and a 1, so they cancel each other out. A 9, 7, 8, 5, 3, and 4.
All right. One of the guys you see now, what you see with these is they come into the light, and you see Sienna's over there talking directly to them. I do have pictures up here of the Sabbat. They are Sabbat, but do keep in mind that this is kind of my for the campaign my general Sabbat pictures, right? But these particular Sabbat are Sabbat of Tzimitzi. Think of Hellraiser. These guys have pins and nails and clips and bars and razors and all stitches and all kind of stuff across their body. They just literally
Oh,
look like a patchwork of sadomasochistic, maybe even more toward the masochistic monsters. They have polluted their body in every way imaginable, and especially their appearance. So these Sabbat here are actually much less insane than the ones you're looking at. These are absolutely Sabbat of Samitsi. What was your question you had there?
I asked them who they were and what they were doing here.
All right, he says, "We are doing the master's work, of course. You stupid Camarilla. Your time is ending. The Father is upon us. He's coming. He's coming
I
to the
shoot him in the
city."
head. I
All right.
come out of shadows. I shoot him in the head.
All right. Well, he's bound, so it's not like you have to worry about a roll so much. So you shoot him in the head, and what ordinance do you use?
I'm still using the shotgun with the dragon breath.
Jesus. All right. Well, his head disappears.
Next.
So you're walking over to them now.
Well, I assumed I moved in shadows until I was right up on him, and then he just
Well,
shot him.
sure. But you're moving across the room, is what I mean.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
of course, you're not in shadows now.
No.
And of course, Sienna, the Sabbat who you were talking to, his head disappears, and you see Bob coming out of his. Well, you have the pendant on, so you saw him anyway. But you see Bob standing there with a shotgun, walking up next to you. Do you have an opinion, Sienna?
I jumped clear of Bob and his shotgun with fire, which is not very good for vampires, I understand.
Oh no,
Well, the
no, this
dragon,
is very much a
yeah,
vampire weapon. Yeah.
but the dragon breath rounds are pretty much just like a fire slug, right?
Yeah. And his head is burned away, of course. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
dead. You killed it. Yeah, for sure. Those rounds are, you guys have access to enough to be fully loaded, but of course, they're not an infinite supply of them. These things are
Mhm.
very expensive, very rare, but due to the nature of your mission, you have access to them. Um,
Yeah.
but you
So
would
when
know
I,
also if Delilah was anywhere near you, she'd probably yell at you for wasting ordnance, though.
yeah,
yeah.
well, yeah, and I'm like, well, like I said, next. I'm literally pointing at the next. So anybody else would say something smart, you want to actually answer next?
Okay, so you're adding to the intimidation roll. I see.
Yes.
So give me a roll.
Okay.
While they're doing that, I'm keeping my awareness up to make sure there's no other surprises around.
So is Rhaegar, and Rhaegar
Mhm.
looks over at you and he points to a different tunnel. He doesn't say a word, and of course you're paying attention like him. You can, with your auspex are still up, right?
Yeah.
Even though you are, you can't activate the auspex as far as putting blood into it because you're in the middle of
Mhm.
doing something with the shadow spell here. But your auspex are working, and with Rhaegar pointing it out, there's something very large moving in that tunnel toward this chamber.
I'm
Very
going
large.
I'm like, guys, hurry it up! Something is coming to us. and it's not going to be pretty.
I'm going to
Okay.
drop down with my rifle and start taking scope shots at this creature from range and prepare a grenade to throw down the tunnel.
So you're just reacting to Dinale's comment and immediately entering combat. Okay.
Yep.
And Rhaegar has drawn his sword because he sees you guys are just moving toward combat. Plague, you're making that intimidation roll. Can you give me that number, please?
Yeah, I only had 3 dice, but I got a 3, a 6, and a 9.
Okay. Well, he already had them well intimidated anyway, but you add to it for sure. The Sabat whose head you blew off, he wasn't lying about anything. He was being honest of what they were doing. But as you add to the intimidation, and the other guy who looks, a little bit terrified, but these guys are insane masochists, right? You understand that. They are servants of Tzimitzi. He's the sadist, they're the masochist, right? You see that Sienna moves to the side of you and gets in a crouch position. Is laying grenades on the ground with one hand and is sitting with his shotgun pointing down a tunnel, which you seem to be unaware of what the hell's going on.
Oh, crap. All right. Well, whatever's coming, we don't want to be fighting these guys too, right?
I would assume so, yeah.
I'm asking everybody this. I'm like, we don't want to be fighting these guys too, right?
Stake one of them, kill the rest. We only need one of them alive.
I pull out the stake that he gave us earlier, and I pop one in everyone's chest.
Okay, so you're dealing with these guys, which Dinale and you were kind of locked into making this happen. I think I really need to have a look at that power you're using because there must be some kind of resistance. But these guys are cannon fodder anyway. They're not.
Right.
They're not really important, so I'm not going to worry about it right here.
Right.
But you and he are dealing with that, and it's going to take you a
Yeah.
couple of rounds to get that done. While you were
Right.
dealing with that, Sienna
I actually
and
looked at the wrong tower, to be honest. So just for this time,
it's fine.
well,
It doesn't matter in this case.
Yeah.
But you guys, Rhaegar and Sienna, are focusing on the threat that is coming down the tunnel. And I do find it very interesting you guys went for a combat approach. But okay. You and Bob are locked in that activity. There's no roles needed. You have them held. He's doing what he's doing. It's simply a matter of time. So for 2 rounds, you guys are out of it. You're dealing with the Sabat that are on the ground, and these guys, Rhaegar and Sienna, have 2 rounds to deal with the issue that is in front of them. Here we go. Now, Sienna, you got yourself you're prepared in a situation, and you let loose down the tunnel. So go ahead and give me an attack roll. You see a big lumbering figure. You can't see what it is exactly, but it's certainly silhouetted enough that you can shoot at it. So go ahead.
Okay, what do I use? The gun?
Yeah, sure. You're
The
going to use your dexterity, and you're going to use your guns, right? Firearms.
yes.
And what rounds are you using?
Dragonfire on a 458 SOCOM rifle.
Alrighty.
Okay, dexterity is 4.
And your firearms?
Uh, as I said, it was a 458 SOCOM. I
That
don't
doesn't
have
matter.
damage.
What is your firearm dice?
Oh, sorry.
It's right on your character sheet. It's called firearms.
Yes, sir. It's 2 on that.
Okay, so you get 2. And what is your
Yes,
dexterity?
sir. The dexterity is 4.
So that's a total of 6 dice. So go ahead and give me a roll.
I caught a 9 and 4 5s and a 6.
Okay. You let loose with his rifle shots down there. You hear you see little flashes of fire, and as the fire goes off, as this is striking, you notice that maybe one because you're this is like a semi-auto, it's like a 3 round burst or something like that, right?
Yes.
Okay, well, what have you? Yeah, let's just say that's that. And you notice that one of the bullets hit, the other two seem to be deflected by some kind of shield. That when the fire goes off, it lights up and you see this kind of glowing shield. Well, one of the bullets did strike, and then this thing lets off a deep roar. And as the fire is going off, you and Ragar get a really good look at what's coming at you, and it's something you've never seen before. This is what it looks like. Now, I only had an outside setting for it, but that's all right. This thing is coming down the tunnel at you, and it seems to have some metal shielding protection, which is not a good thing. And it now knows it's in combat, so it picks up its pace and starts running straight at you because you're the one who shot it. Now, Ragar is also involved. We're going to let him go next. And he runs up, and as the thing exits the tunnel, beelining toward you, he tries to do a run by slash at it. Let me do my roll real quick. All right, and you notice that he hits it, and he does some damage across the chest. Although it hasn't completely regenerated, you do see this. It already is regenerating, which is not abnormal for vampires to do. But you also notice a sheen come up after he makes his strike, meaning as if maybe that shield has come back up. But you were able to drop the shield temporarily anyway. But the thing kind of put us on a groan, and it leers at Ragar, of course, but it continues on its momentum in toward you, and it's bringing an attack at you. Now, let me do my dice.
Oh crap!
Okay, that's not a great roll. All right, I do actually 3 aggravated on you, but your armor soaks it all. Okay, but you don't know how good a strike that was or not, but you know it's right on the threshold of hurting you with this armor on. And the thing seems a bit surprised. There is intelligence in its eyes, but it seems bestial in its intelligence. But it does seem surprised that you took that strike and without anything. So I'm assuming you're trying to regain your position, and because you're dealing with range combat right now. Well, you are. I don't know what you're going to do in the future. But anyway, so that's round one done. Round two, Ragnar is standing behind toward the tunnel entrance. This thing is sitting in the middle of this chamber, engaged with Sienna. So Sienna, you're top of the round. So what are you going to do?
I'm gonna activate my the celerity wasn't still in effect at the start of
Oh
this
no,
round,
no, it's
right?
on. It's a scene based thing. It's just if you want to
O-
get extra attacks, you have to burn blood. That's all.
Okay. I want to draw my sword and attack it using the celerity and blood points.
Okay, so you want to do 2 attacks. All right. So go ahead.
Okay, and I'm still using the firearms on this.
No, no, of course not. You're using a sword, so you're going to use your melee.
Okay.
In this case, it would be strength and melee, right?
Okay, the strength is 5 and the melee is 3.
Okay. And once again, I think you need to have one of these guys help you out after the session today, because you most certainly have specializations that you're not utilizing. So we're going to have to clean up your sheet a little bit, but that's okay for right now. So go ahead and roll those dice twice, please.
Uh, Screen seems to be glitching. Let me. I caught a 10 and a 1, but I also caught a 10, 8, 6, 5, 4, and 3.
Okay. So you certainly do 4 attacks there that hit. And with you don't have your potence on, but even with that, that's with your strength and those hits, it's very high. So let me do a soak roll. Oh no, sorry, I don't have to do a soak roll. That's the first attack, right? What
Yeah.
happens is you go through and you do a good chunk of damage. You can tell, but as you basically shoulder your gun and draw the sword in almost one motion, and you basically slash down upon this thing as you take a half step back on it, and the shield glimmers and breaks. You can see it break, but it doesn't take any damage at all from that attack. Second attack, though, go ahead.
Caught a 10, 2 5s, 2 4s, 2 7s, and a 6.
All right. So now, Bob, this the sword is not considered aggravated damage, right?
No, it's not
Yeah, I don't think so. Not
unless
unless.
it's got some kind of property to it.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah. All right. So you strike it, so it gets a soak though, because it's not aggravated, so it gets actually to soak it. So let me do a soak roll. All right. You do strike it across the arm, and you do a little bit of damage. Some blood spurts out. It's certainly not happy about it, but it doesn't really deflect its attention too much. You do notice that the wound on the chest is still open, but it is healing. So this isn't like the creature you fought in the Umbra, which healed instantly. It's not. It is healing. It's a high rate. It's probably higher than your rate, but it's not an instant heal type of situation. So you take that second strike, you kind of do a whirl backhand strike with that, and you find yourself off to the side of the creature trying to keep some kind of combat distance, right? Coming up, running behind, you see Rhaegar come up, and he's doing like a leaping charge at this thing. He seems to be using some kind of discipline as well, but not like unlike you, he's not using like a quick celerity double strike. He's doing a single strike, but he's trying to focus his attention on it. Let me make a roll. Oh goodness. All right. So the creature sees it out of the corner of his eye as Rhaegar is in midair, and he backhands Rhaegar, and Rhaegar literally covers the entire 15 meters between him and the wall, and he smashes in the wall with a spurting of blood all around him. He just critically failed, by the way, and he flops on the
Oof.
ground. You don't know if he's alive or dead. But yeah, that's not good at all. That's a very bad thing that just happened. Ooh, goodness. End of round two. Round
Hmm.
three. Now, Plague and Al, you guys have finished what you were doing. You can now focus yourself onto this creature. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, I'll just take the creature's action as being that fumble action. So that's fine. I'm moving on to third round. So anyway, you two can now try to engage this very large hulking creature. As you can see visually, it's a very scary looking vampiric type of creature. But even though it's kind of crouched with its dog legs and stuff, this thing is probably 5 meters. I mean, not 5 meters. It's a good 5 feet wide. And although it's kind of crouched down, if it stood up, it might touch the ceiling of this low hung chamber. It's big, dude. It's really big. What do you want to do? And you just saw Ragnar get literally pulped into the wall.
Yikes.
Crap.
Whose turn is it?
It's top of the round, so I'm just it's simple enough. I just do it with you guys. So we're going to
Okay.
go Sienna. We're going to because he's in the middle of the room. We're
Hmm.
going to go Plague, and then we're going to go Al. Okay. So
Okay.
Sienna, what do you want to do?
All right.
Oh,
I want to activate.
by the way, after its action, the wound on its arm is nearly completely gone, and the wound on the chest is half healed.
Okay. Can I use the potence and fortitude this round along with my brawl to attack it?
Well, now, are you allowed, without spending blood, to activate disciplines and attack in the same round? I mean, two disciplines and an attack in the same round without using blood. Is that allowable,
Dep-
Bob?
I don't. I think so. I think unless you have
It's
you
blood
have to have 2 dots
potency.
in celerity.
His blood potency higher, but since we're blood potency 1, he can only use 1 blood per
Yeah.
turn.
That's
you
what
can
I
only burn
thought.
1
Yeah.
blood per turn, and even if you did, I think to take 2 actions, you have to have an extra dot in celerity. I mean, an action to take 3 actions, you have to have an extra dot in celerity.
I would
Right.
think so. Yeah.
You'd have to have at least you'd have to have at least 2 dots in celerity because each dot in celerity I think gives you an action.
Okay.
Okay.
But what I
Um,
would let you do is to put yourself in a defensive stance, which means you get a full defense against this creature's attack, and activate both disciplines, though. I'll let you do that. You're going to
um,
spend a blood to do it, though.
could I use a celerity and try to place a grenade in the opening in its chest?
Well, the opening is not that big, but I mean, you could certainly use a grenade as an attack. Sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't suggest doing that either because that's going to put you in melee with him,
Uh,
and he's
though
a freaking tank.
it is a tank, but do keep in mind, however, you didn't see that that shield glimmer back up on his round, though.
Okay. Would I be able to attack with the sword this turn with celerity and throw the grenade as
Sure, you could do
second attack?
spend a blood, and
Yep.
you could do 2 attacks, no problem. Yeah.
Okay. And would I be able to use the athletics to like spring back to throw the grenade so I'm not on top of them when I do it?
Well, I mean, in combat, you can certainly adjust a certain amount of 5 feet to 10 feet or so. That's just simply combat movement. But can you do those things as well as taking a full movement at the end of your action? You could try, but you're going to be putting yourself in a position of him having a good chance to just whack you. It's not a combat thing to do. You know that. That would be a mistake.
Okay.
You are a combatant, so you know these things because you can't disengage that easily, right?
Okay. So use the sword and throw the grenade then?
Sure, yeah, that's fine. Spend your blood. You've burned 2 blood so far, I think, in this round. You only have 10 blood, right?
10 total. Yes, I've
Yeah,
lost
so
2
you're
this
down to
round.
8. All right, so go ahead and do your sword attack, please.
Okay. And that's the strength and
Melee. That's right.
delay. that's 8. I like them ones today. I hit 2 10s and a 1, 2 6s, 3 6s, sorry, and a 8 and a 5.
Okay. Well, the one offsets, but of course you have plenty of other successes. So you definitely hit into this creature. Let me do his soak. All right. It's a pretty good soak roll, but he does take a little bit of damage from you. This time you kind of catch him across the jaw, and you actually dig right deep into the jaw, almost having the left side of the jaw actually hanging down a little bit. It lets out a roar of unhappiness at your attack. And of course, you do that attack and put yourself into a position as you're dropping the grenade. I'm assuming you're going to use its body as a shield because you are dropping a grenade in the middle of combat. You do understand that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're there, right?
Can I throw it up above me, like at its head above?
It's not going to matter. You're in range. You're going to take the blast as well. Well, that's how grenades work, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, not usually. Can I just do the dang? You said I'll just do the second attack with the sword.
Okay.
I was
I mean,
just
you had a solid attack. I just soaked really well. I mean, you still hurt him though. This the it's the haven't I know no one's done huge damage to this thing yet, but you are knocking away at it for sure. Go ahead.
can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Instead of throwing the grenade this round, why don't you use the blood you burn to retreat at speed, and then throw the grenade next round
Yeah.
when you got some distance between you.
You could do that. Yeah.
And we'll go that route.
All right. So you put yourself in a safe grenade distance. You are a soldier. You know these things, right? This is not like it's not like Plague holding a grenade, which is probably a bad idea. You know exactly what you're doing, right? So anyway, that brings us down to Al. I said, right? No, Plague, because he's in the room.
Yeah.
So Plague, you see him take another. You see Sienna take another slash at this creature. He's doing a little bit of damage, but you don't think you're really slowing this thing down much so far. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna shoot it because that's about the only thing I can think of to do.
All right. So how you want to go about doing that?
I'm just gonna pull up, and since he backed up, I'm not worried about him being right in line of fire. So I'm just gonna take a shot right at its freaking head.
All right. So go ahead and make your attack.
Okay. Oh shit! Okay, that worked. 2 10s and a 7.
2 10s and a 7. Wow. Okay. And that's Dragonfire, which is aggravated. Okay. Hold on a second. So you hit its left arm, and you actually blow the arm off at the elbow. So this big, this useless wing thing you see sitting here is laying on the ground. The thing is screaming in pain and is looking right at you, sir. Al.
Does a shimmer come back up, or
No.
is it still down?
No.
Okay, then I'm doing a call shot to the head, as well using Dragonfire.
Okay, it's just
and-
more difficulty. So go ahead.
Using one, I'm burning 1 point of blood to buff up my skill, so 1 dice.
Okay.
Right. So rolling. Okay.
I'm going to share that screen because that's a thing of beauty and that's never going to happen again.
I got a 5, a 10, a 9, a 10, a 10.
Jesus, Dinale. All right. Well, this is Dragonfire. I can't soak it because it's aggravated. I do have this roll, but that's not going to help me with that many successes. All right. So you took the higher difficulty, and you certainly hit the higher difficulty. What weapon are you using, or a shotgun or something like that, right?
Yeah, for the
Okay.
Dragonfire.
So you see Al step out from the tunnel where he was, and he just kind of puts that shotgun on his shoulder, and he just lets off a dragon fire, a very patient and aimed shot. It hits the thing straight in the forehead, and its forehead explodes in fire. And in silence, the body flops to the ground with a splatting, squishy sound.
And I said double tap.
Damn.
Well,
Okay.
it doesn't have a head, but you can go ahead and shoot it again if you'd like. Yeah, that's the
Well-
thing about aggravated damage, right?
Yeah.
All right.
I just look around for a minute. I'm like, please tell me there's just one.
You don't see anything else coming. There's one staked Sabat laying on the ground. The other ones are dead.
Let's get out.
And
before-
Rhaegar is not moved since he hit that wall and splatted on the
Okay.
ground.
All right, I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna use. I tell everybody that's here. It's like, don't tell anybody what I'm gonna do now. And then I
Sure.
go, and I'm gonna roll my willpower
Hmm.
to do the blood sorcery to heal him. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm rolling the dots. So I got a 8, 1, 7, 1, 6, 3, 6, 6, 7, 7.
Okay,
Jeez.
well, the ones are certainly offset, and you get it, and it is successful. Now, you
Mhm.
guys understand that he is using. What is that? It's some. These are Tsimitsi's disciplines, right?
No, these are black hands to be.
These are black hand. Jesus. Okay.
Yeah.
He's
yeah.
using some kind of blood magic you guys don't know, never heard about.
But
Of course, blood magic is usually frowned upon. So you know.
yeah.
I
But-
took an extra dot in occult. Can I take a roll to see if I know what this is?
You. Oof, how many? What do you? How many points you have in occult?
2.
It's very high difficulty, but you can give it a try.
So that would be occult and intelligence or occult perception.
No, occult and intelligence. Yeah.
Okay, that's much better.
Let's see, where are you?
1 second here.
There you go. That's what I want.
Since this is a weird roll, share that.
Go ahead.
10, 9, 7.
All right. You know that you don't know, but it's certainly not Camarilla.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jesus,
And
dude.
it's blood magic. You know that.
Yeah, I just kind of like, jeez, dude. All right, just take a step back.
Now, you were successful, Dinale, and what
Mhm.
were you successful at?
Is
I'm sorry, you roboted out. Say it again.
bio.
Wow. Say it again.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Okay. I was saying it's bio dermatology.
Yeah, biothermatology. Yeah.
Yeah. And basically I can heal, I downgrade any damages from aggravated to superficial um to bashing and bashing to nothing.
Okay. How do you? All right. So, you're able to get him on his feet, but he's not going to
Yeah.
be able to travel. And he kind of looks up you. He's still dazed. It's as if
All
he
right.
doesn't know where he is. Even though you certainly kept him from perishing,
Yeah.
he's going to need help getting where he needs to go. He's
Right.
I
still
could
bad
carry.
shape.
Well, this was a this is why the reason it's to keep him alive.
Yeah, sure.
Um,
All right, so Sienna's going to carry him, she says.
yeah.
So you guys now the problem is you're in the underground chamber. You know the direction that Rhaegar was heading, but he knows these tunnels, not you.
Okay, is he unconscious? He's still
He's
down.
dazed. He's not. He's not. He's incommunicado. I'll say that.
Okay. If we try to find our way down here, we're gonna be wandering around forever.
Well, now it depends on. I think this is really a situation for Plague to solve.
Okay. I still have reception down here.
You do absolutely. Matter of
Okay.
fact, it's extremely clear. The Nosferatu makes sure.
Okay. I'm going to pull up the city sewer system.
This is not the sewer system.
Oh no, this is the NOS underground. Actually, I'm going to get on the NOS net and put out to them that Rhaegar is down, and I'm just going to tell them exactly what happened.
SOS. Yeah.
SOS. Like
Okay.
Rhaegar's down. We are at this place. I describe it. I described the thing that went down. I said we need someone to come lead us to the chantry.
Okay. You get a fairly quick response actually, and they say stay where you are.
Okay.
All right. Now, as you guys are waiting, you still have a staked sabbat laying on the ground. What are you gonna do with that one?
We're gonna
tie it up, pull it out, and get some information.
Okay. Well, I don't
right.
know if you don't have that much time. They're going to be
Oh,
on top
Well,
of you pretty quick. These guys got to be here.
right.
I'm basically asking
My
who's carrying the sabbat is what I'm saying.
oh, it's not going to be me.
I'll carry the Sabat. Kind of grudgingly, but I'll carry him. But before that, I'm going to take a sample of that creature
All right.
and see what it is.
Now, as you come up to it, Alan, you take your sample.
Mm-hmm.
You notice the thing is it's dead. It's lying there dead. But as you
Mm-hmm.
get closer, that you couldn't see because it was moving. It's in action. All this chaos
Mm-hmm.
is happening. You notice that it is a chiropteran type of chimeric creature. Assuming it had it has it's at least part vampire because it was using disciplines, but you notice that there are lots of little pins and needles and nails and little things like that are buried in the skin, and there's just all kinds of little self mutilation going on in this body that it wasn't clear to see at a distance. This is certainly a work of Tsumitsu, you would think.
Yikes! Like we need that with us,
Yeah, well, we knew
but
they were going to hit us.
right.
But you have no
So
occult lore to tell you it's this specific thing, though.
right. I don't have. I got kindred lore. I don't know if that works.
No, I'm not even. You don't have to bother rolling. You don't know what this is. The
Right.
thing you would categorize it as some kind of chimeric creature,
Right.
right?
So
But you get your
the
sample. Yeah, go ahead.
oh wait, I can do the blood ritual because the first dot of it is forensic, which says each success on activation roll yields one piece of simple information about the subject.
Okay. All
Uh,
right. There you go.
so let me roll that, and you can get and how many successes. You just tell me
Yeah, I get it.
what it is. Yep. So I rolled a 9, a 5, a 5, a 6, a 7, a 7, a 7, a 7.
Okay. So from using your ability on it,
Mm-hmm.
and whilst you're gaining your sample, that it is a chimeric creature, and it
Mm-hmm.
is absolutely vampiric in nature.
Awesome. Okay. Can I tell if it was part of a clan or um like it was mutated from some other clan or from Tamisi's clan
You
itself?
you would assume so.
Do I see any traces of diablerie on it?
Absolutely.
Okay. Let me see. Is there any other physical characteristic that would be identifying this creature to any other vampire that we would be subject to know?
It was once human.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. And by the time you're done with that, you see two Nosferatu kind of slink into the chamber, but because you guys have your pendants on, you can see them even though they're well hidden. And as they recognize you, they step up and they say, well, the one of them says, "Come with us, quickly, quickly." The other one is over and looking at Rhaegar on the shoulder of Sienna and kind of checking him out. And they say, "Come, come, come." So you guys head down the tunnel ways, moving at a very high clip compared to what you were doing before. And along the way, there's a couple times where they tell you guys to back up, and they kind of wait as something in the distance moves. Then they continue moving, and you guys are following these guys. They know these tunnels really well, and eventually they come up to street level, and they kind of usher you guys to get onto the street, and they said the chantry is waiting for you, and they disappear into the darkness of the ladder below. Sitting in front of you, you see the chantry house.
Let's go before any more surprises happens.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
That's a real building in Boston, by the way.
Nice.
Yeah. All right, you guys head over to the entrance of the Chantry house. There are guards outside, and of course, they know who you are. So they open the door and they actually kind of go a little bit higher alert. You guys had seen a couple other guys that were hiding in the shadows, using disciplines off to the sides, and you see them all kind of get into a kneeled position with the guns training on the the in front of the house there onto the scenery. You guys enter into the Chantry house. The door is closed behind you, and inside here in the front room, this place is pure chaos. There's vampires and magi, and you even see a couple of silent stalkers. Is that what they're called? Yeah, I think the Silent Stalkers, big old tall black werewolves, moving around here, and everyone is gaining information, giving stuff, running messages. This place is on super high alert, and everyone is engaged. What do you want to do?
We need to see the prints, so we look to see who can take us to the prince quickly and report to him.
Okay. So you see there's a couple of people working at a table. Now, you guys haven't been in here before. Sienna has. Now, Sienna probably didn't notice this before because she just kind of left. But you guys, now that you guys have seen it very clearly, what it looks like from the outside, the inside is much bigger than the outside. Some kind of magic going on here. But there are a couple of people that are doing something at a table, and you walk over and ask them where the prince is, and one of them says, "Oh, certainly," and follow me. It's a magi, a mage. And you follow them into the next adjoining room, and you see that the prince and the magus, and as well as her name was Tara, I believe, as well as Tara is sitting in here. And yeah, and of course the Prince and the Magus and Tara are in here, or Lara, sorry, are in
Mhm.
here, and you guys head over to them. You see a couple of people coming over and basically motioning towards Sienna that we'll take care of Ragar. And they take Ragar off his shoulder, and the prince looks at you and says, "Well, now,
We
do keep in mind, we haven't really been mentioning it, but the whole time the key has been with you, right?
right,
Right. The situation didn't go so south that I had to really involve her being a target or anything because it all was handled pretty quickly, really. But of course, she's been with you the whole time. The prince asked you, well, what you have to report, and of course, several of them are looking directly at this very strange lady who is. I'm assuming you gave her clothing, right?
yeah.
Okay. But obviously, they're all quite interested in. So, what report would you like to give to the prince?
I pointed at her and I said, "Key."
I see.
We
Uh,
need and I said we need a spell to communicate that gives us access to ancient languages because unfortunately we met Malky in the first temple.
Malkov. Malkov.
Yeah.
Malkov.
Oh,
Um,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's
okay.
very interested in what's going
So
on.
you give him a. He does dismiss several of the people around him to kind of clear the room in a way, and you guys kind of tell him your adventure and what's happened to you. And he probably does have a little bit of information reported from Delilah, at least in the beginning. Although you
Hmm.
guys know that you have been able to communicate well for quite a while. They explain to you, and of course. He looks at Laura to take care of trying to do a way to communicate with this girl, and Laura actually kind of leads the girl off to a side of the room, and she's very gentle and calm with her, and she's doing some kind of magic. But the prince tells you the magus kind of goes back. He's listening, but he's doing something else. But the prince has you have his full attention, and he explains to you that the Sabbat have been testing their borders for the past 5 hours, and they're seeing a lot of Tzimitzi chimera creatures running around they've had to deal with, which you guys, of course, just explained. You dealt with one as well.
Yep.
Although the descriptions that he give, each one is different. They don't look the same. Okay, but the Sabbat are also the Tzimitzi Sabbat are pushing. They haven't seen other kind of Sabbat. It's mainly just the Tzimitzi ones, and they're basically testing the defenses. Is what they're doing. There's been no full frontal attack, and more importantly, there has been no sign of Tzimitzi himself.
Right. And we point to the body that stake that we capture one of the Sabbats uh, for information if
Okay.
they
Um,
need it as well.
well, sure, and that's something that they will do. He also mentions to you that the Magi, with a couple of the just cars being led by the Magus himself, are going to be heading into the deep Umbra to try to shunt the Loci. So that's a pretty desperate move, but that's where they are. And of course, you all have a cult, so you kind of get what that means. Dinale understands exactly what that means, and that's a pretty desperate move to actually try to
Yeah.
shunt the loci itself. But that's what they're doing, and of course, it has nothing to do with you. He's just giving you information about what he's just being. This the prince sees no reason, it seems, to hold anything back from you. I mean, everyone's ass is on the line, right? That's what's standing. We have a information to be gathered from a crazy ass Samitsi Sabat. We have a key that is being magicked as we speak to give us some kind of ability to, or a polyglot aspect to try to communicate with her. And we have the Sabat of the city that are testing the defenses, which means that Tsumitsu can't be too far away. And you
Right.
guys are
Yep.
in Boston.
And I tell the prince about what I also found out about the woman, about that magical particles. See if he's aware of that.
He's
Uh,
not, and
mhm,
you guys have many conversations, and of course, what we're going to do, we're at our 2 hour mark. We're going to end for today, but when we come back next week, we're going to be able to glean all that information, and we'll see where our party goes from here. Also, although they are in Boston, and it looks like Boston's about to pop. So we'll see how that goes. Was it a good idea for them to come here, or was it a bad idea? Nevertheless, we will see how things play out. So before we get out of here, guys, I do want to say thank you to everyone who's been watching. We do
mhm.
appreciate you guys. Plague don't play. No, he doesn't. I do apologize that I haven't been able to use holy water. Eagle 43 says I haven't been able to pay as much attention to you as I normally would, but this is a role-playing game, and I'm really busy back here, kind of trying to keep the visual of the storytelling going forward. And of course, my brain is kind of working toward that as well. But nevertheless, we really appreciate you guys being here. This is a lot of fun doing these role-playing things, and I hope you guys are enjoying it as well. But Bob, would you like to make any closing statements for today?
I'm good, man. I think that this was interesting. Definitely not the wheelhouse of my character likes to roll in, but hey, man, you gotta do what you gotta do when things go Roman.
True, but your character has been very useful with the skills he has, though.
That's the whole reason I made him, man. He's the skill guy.
He is. He is. What about you, Mox? You got some closing statement for today, dude?
I got a little bit of homework to do on my character before next week.
Yep. No, you need to understand the character and exactly what it can do and stuff. And of course, I'm kind of softballing it on my side as far as combat and stuff goes for right now, just to let you guys get your feet. We will eventually end up in combat situations that you will be in desperate situation. Your life will be on the line. But we're just softballing right now, and especially because it's vampire. This has more to do with the story than it does. Let's go beat that thing up, right? Because in all
Yeah,
honesty, you guys decided to engage. You could have moved,
yeah.
taken that scene completely different. You didn't have to enter combat at all, actually.
Honestly, the
The-
only reason my character did it is because they were pinned down and he was safe.
Right. Well, yeah. I'm
Otherwise,
just.
yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would have been like hell no.
Right. Well, just keep that in
yeah.
mind, guys. I don't assume because we're all role players, all of us here are played many different games, and we usually, as role players, particularly D&Ders, we tend to go at the situation in a combat mindset. We do that, but this is vampire. You don't have to do that. You can approach it differently, and keep in mind, you will be in the same vicinity of things in this game that you cannot beat. Simply, I don't
Oh
care if
yeah,
you roll all tens, you're not beating it, right? It's beyond you, and that also is vampire, right? So just keep that in mind. You know, sometimes you need to do bull rush things in combat, and sometimes you don't. But anyway, thank you very much, Bob and Mox. I do appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate the chat. Thank you guys very much. And of course, Denali, your closing statements and take us out of here.
Well, it's pretty much interesting. Like you mentioned, I would have not taken that route. I was only warning the guys that a creature was coming, and the choice was made for me.
Mhm.
Which that's vampire as well. You have to roll with whatever's that action goes. Um, but still a lot of homework to do. Still got to read that my powers correctly. Um, that's my homework because I misread it completely. That's kind of embarrassing because I strive to be on that. But join us tomorrow for Comics News Today at the regular time at 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll be talking about news and all that fun stuff. And then there's the Drawn and Quarter at, is it Mike's channel again? He's returned back to his retreat,
I'm
or is it
pretty
going to
sure
be
he's
on?
back. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's on Blacklist Universe at
Mhm.
10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah.
Right. And then followed by Thursday, which is another Comics News Today, followed by the fan edition of Drawn and Quarter at 10
Mhm.
p.m. Eastern. We're doing Iron Skies.
Iron Skies.
Uh,
Yeah, nice looking Indiegogo campaign. Actually, it's pretty fun art in there. I'm looking
Right.
forward to that. Yeah.
So we are thankful for you spending the evening with us. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you're learning the game as we're learning the game, relearning the game as well. But as always, your perception shapes your reality. So always make it a good one.
Namaste.
Namaste.
All right, guys. Later.
Aloha.
Right.